Hello everybody and welcome back to K-All. I am your host, Angel, and today I am really excited because we are continuing the BTS Festa festivities. We're going to discuss a lot of things in this episode. Specifically, we're going to cover the fact that I basically pulled a double all-nighter to see J-Hope's two final Hope on the Stage performances in Seoul. And the reason why in Seoul to the sky is because BTS were in the building and a lot occurred. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about some predictions for BTS's future. So if that sounds like something you're interested in listening to, please give a like on this video or give us a little review if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Music. And please, by all means, follow along in the conversation. Give me your input if you had watched J-Hope's concerts this weekend. If you haven't, but you've seen some of the clips surfacing on social media, get in the conversation. Let me know what you think, how you're processing everything, because there is quite frankly a lot to get into. So without further ado, folks, let's get it. Alright, so J-Hope's Hope on the Stage final in Seoul was basically a 2-day phenomenon that armies around the world tuned into. On Friday, June 13th, that is BTS's debut date, so it's a very big deal. As Jimin mentioned in his Military Live with Jungkook, it's his birthday, and by his birthday, he means it's BTS's birthday. So this was a very, very exciting concert to witness because it marked the first moment in about 2 years that we have seen all 7 members of BTS in one frame, or at least in the same building. So it was incredible. We finally saw a sign of life from Yoongi, little Meow Meow himself. He was there dancing with his army bomb. Jin was the other army bomb holder, torchbearer, one might say. And it was truly just such a sight to behold. I don't know about you, but as somebody who has followed their journey since before they enlisted, went through the entire solo period, and now are finally able to see their synergy again, even if it's them just dancing to mic drop with a little bit of a confused coordination, it's still so magical, and it just shows that the best moment is yet to come. I am so excited to see what's going to happen now that they're finally back as 7. BTS is back. As J-Hope said, and I quote on June 13th of his concert, "We are back." So we have never been more back, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Speaking of which, after J-Hope's Day 2 concert, there was a bit of a visual video teaser that came out from one of the shows that he's guest starring on, and in this interview, he says that as soon as BTS are reunited, which Yoongi will finish his service, I believe, June 21st, they are going to start working on an album, and they will be planning a world tour. Woo! And the crowd goes wild, baby. Running wild. I am so excited, and I'm very, very scared for what that ticketing battle is going to be like, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So let's backtrack a little, talk about Friday, talk about June 13th. I had my best friend Allie, who was actually in the last episode of K-All, so if you haven't had a chance to check that out, please go back and watch it because we created absolutely gorgeous BTS Eras tour set list, and I think you're going to want to listen now that the tour is closer than we might imagine or wonder. Now, she ended up sleeping over. We pulled an all-nighter, stayed up the entire night. I will include some of that footage within this video for our YouTube friends, but everyone listening on Spotify, if you want to see those clips, you could check out our social medias. I have featured a couple of reels with the content of that evening, but we were kind of just boosting our excitement as ARMY best friends the entire night. We looked through old BTS magazines as well as new ones, kind of comparing the publications, just having fun, looking through their accomplishments and what they've created over the past 12 years. Did a little bit of BTS karaoke, which is always a necessity, armyoke as I like to call it. So we did a lot of that. We played a lot of games, had a lot of fun, stayed up the entire night. Until 2:50 a.m., we finally decided it would be a good time to go to bed. And my friend, Allie, she was like, "Angel, are you sure they're going to be here? Like, are they really going to be at the concert at 6 a.m. tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Trust me, I feel it. My ARMY senses are tingling. They're going to be there." And sure enough, right before we were about to part ways and go to sleep, because we have to sleep in separate rooms or else we will never go to bed, I check on Twitter and I see that there are some sound check photos with Jungkook and Jin taking the stage with Hobie. So obviously I go running back into the room. I tell her we're freaking out together. Now we know that we are so back. We have about a 3-hour window to get sleep before the concert starts. So we go to bed. I probably fall asleep around 3 a.m. and then I wake up at 5:50 to set the stage, get our army bombs ready. We already had matching purple pajamas. Like we were Bora Haid out, you know? It was very serious. We take this very seriously. I got the TV ready, had gotten the live stream set up, mirrored it. We love good Chromecast. Shout out to Chromecast. Always has my back when I got to play something from my laptop onto the big screen. And we were locked in. We were ready for the moment. The countdown was so exhilarating because me, Allie, and I had actually seen J-Hope's Hope on the Stage concert when he brought it to Barclays Center for my birthday, and that was incredible. But now we were watching it with the knowledge that all of BTS were in that building and that he would be unveiling his new song. Now, how could I not mention that night before, at midnight, J-Hope unleashed and unveiled his Killin' It Girl. Now, people who follow us on KOL Podcast on Instagram, as well as those of you who have seen our shorts on YouTube, know that I made a prediction reel for what Killin' It Girl might sound like, and it went a little bit something like this. You killin' it, girl, alright. Everybody knows that you're just my type. Don't need no other woman when you're my baseline. You set the rhythm and the rest just falls in line. Hey, let's get it. The world calls me Hobie, but you can call me Jay. Whenever you need hope, just know I'm on your way. Criminal undercover, smooth like butter, understand? My team's buying time, my position is your man. It was something like that. And it actually blew up on Instagram and ended up getting 50,000 views. And so many people have been tagging you Army Hope, which is J-Hope's Instagram account. And I'm very grateful that they thought it was good enough to tag him because I whipped that up in 20 minutes. It was not meant to be serious, but Army loved it, and I love Army. So if Army love it, I love it too. Now, the song was nothing like what I had imagined it to be. First of all, he was singing in such a lower register than what I had expected, and he just absolutely transformed his persona. It's quite crazy that he outdid Jungkook and Jimin when it comes to sexiness. It was crazy. I could not believe what he was exuding. Now, J-Hope has always been a force to be reckoned with. He's always been super talented, incredible body control, but he's always been polite with it, you know? This time he was like, bada bing, bada boom, boom, boom. I'm coming here, I mean business, and you're about to see what I am made of. So this music video, his dancing took on a whole new suave, sultry, crazy vibe. And the song itself just is a vessel for J-Hope to move his body and to show his talents and his ability. There's just a whole new level of confidence that J-Hope exudes, or should I say Jay exudes, ever since leaving the military. And I think because he had to kind of bare his soul in the military and strip down his entire identity and his ego while he was in service, as soon as he was out, he was ready to find himself again and own himself, love himself intrinsically, no veils, no nothing. That's why he is shirtless in the music video with nothing but a jacket, and he's showing off those incredible abs because he earned it. He earned the bragging rights. He's worked too darn hard these past 4 months at Hope on the Stage concert after just leaving the military, and he has provided the most show-stopping stage that I have ever seen. The only show that I could really truly compare it to is D-Day by August D. Each of them have such an incredible way of bearing their souls on the stage, just showing everyone the raw side of who they are and why music means so much to them. It just shows the way that it courses through their veins. And what I love when I compare yoongi's to J-Hope's is that in Suga's, he really deconstructed his story on the stage, starting from his birth to everything he went through mentally, his trauma as a teenager, up until his idol life and learning how to cope with the plights of fame and how not to fall into greed, to never let it consume him so that he doesn't become a monster he feared when he was younger. But he still wants to keep putting his musical output into the world so that all of his songs can have life forces around the globe. But in his stage, it starts where he's on the stage and he's performing above everybody. But by the end of the concert, the stage is completely deconstructed piece by piece, floating up into the air until yoongi, Auguste, Suga, is on ground level with the crowd. He's on the floor with everyone else, showing that no one is above anyone and that he wants to die to himself when it comes to his music because he doesn't think that he is any better than anyone. He simply thinks that his talents, his creations are something that can move people. And if it can help people in any form of significant way, then he's going to do that. But he wants to remind everybody that he is still just a person. He's human, like People and People Part 2, his 2 songs that he wrote. So it's just so brilliant the way that he does that, the humility within his stage. He lifts all of the veils, basically. He lifts all of the false pretenses of what an idol should be, who's above everybody, and he comes down to ground level to look everyone in the eye and be like, this is me. I'm a person, but I'm a musician, and my music is what makes me soar. So that's what he's going to continue creating. Now for J-Hope's stage is his lifeline. It's a whole other thing. He needs to be on that stage. He does come down to crowd level at some points within the concert, but that stage is his safety zone. It's his giving tree. And the more that he takes from that giving tree, the more that he is able to feel whole and become who he's meant to be. And when he was struggling before going into the military at Lollapalooza saying, where's my safe zone? Let me know if you know. That stage was getting taken away from him while he had to go and enlist. But now that he's back, he's able to sit on a stump on stage on his final concert and reflect. Oh, that's my dog, Roxy. 1 second. Okay, everybody, so I am now holding my Bichon Shih Tzu, Roxy, because she was crying outside the door, and I cannot leave her outside because she's a baby. So as I was saying, J-Hope's stage, by the time he was finally at his final concert, the stage was able to become his stump. The giving tree had given everything that it had to give him for the past 4 months for him to grow up and to mature as an artist. So now he could sit on that stump and reflect on everything great that happened to him within the past couple of months, as well as the sorrows he endured and the pains of getting sick while on tour and still having to endure from concert to concert. But now he could sit there and reflect on all of his hard work and know that it was not for nothing, that it was all to give back to the army, to create his beautiful music and heal everyone within what he creates. And now he can be proud of his artistry, the road to J-Hope, and his Hope World. So it was just really beautiful to witness and to see the contrast between yoongi and J-Hope, with how yoongi's the stage goes down to nothing, but to J-Hope, the stage is his home. On Saturday was when J-Hope ended the show with Safety Zone with the stump, because he had not sang Safety Zone for the entirety of the tour, and I can see why. He was saving it for his final moment where he finally knew he was in the clear. He completed everything and he fulfilled his duties as an artist. But for the Friday show, we got a lot of special moments, and it all basically started when J-Hope began to sing I Wonder. Now, I Wonder is a song on Hope on the Street Volume 1, which is a EP that J-Hope released while in the military, and it features a song with Jungkook. So Jungkook sings the chorus as well as the outro to the song, and he has yet to perform it with J-Hope live because he was also in the military. But for this show on Friday, June 13th, J-Hope was singing, and suddenly Jungkook emerged from behind one of the stage sections, like a box that had a rose. It began to lower, and Jungkook walked out and started singing, I wonder, 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 wonder where we'll go. And when I tell you, me and Allie absolutely started crying, screaming, all of the above, jumping up and down. We were losing it because to see Jungkook on that stage just 2 days after being released from the military, it was so touching and so powerful and just joyful. So something that I really enjoyed from this performance, aside from seeing JK and J-Hope together, was the fact that Jungkook would look to J-Hope for support throughout the performance. Whenever he was singing, you could see whenever they locked eyes, he would feel comforted. He'd feel at peace. So it was kind of him resettling himself back into the stage. And he sounded so beautiful. It's like he hadn't skipped a beat. And I know that it must not have been easy for him to come right back on stage after the military, but I'm also sure there must be such a hunger for each of them to return to what once was theirs, to their rightful throne. And he definitely did that in this stage. And they just sounded so beautiful together. His high register is always so healing. It's just like it provides a tranquility amongst the entire audience as well as the people watching on the live stream like myself. And then right after that, they had like a little moment where they hugged. It was very sweet. And Jungkook and J-Hope just they spoke to each other. Jungkook did his little salute. J-Hope laughed. And the camera ended up, I think at this point, panning to all of the group. It might not have been here. It could have been a little bit later in the performance. But when I tell you, I saw Yoongi in that crowd with his beanie and his mask doing the little heart over his head and seeing him smile, it just felt like, I don't know, a breath of fresh air. I was so relieved because it had been so long since we had actually gotten to see him, and knowing that he's okay, that he's happy, and that he was surrounded by his members, honestly, I couldn't ask for anything more. But it was so cute. He looked so tiny in comparison to Namjoon and V and Jin, Worldwide Shoulders, even Jungkook, as if Jungkook isn't the muscle bunny himself. I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I mean. And they were all so adorable. Jimin was hiding himself, doing a little heart from behind his back, but he looked adorable. He was wearing the nerdiest glasses, and I can say that as a glasses nerd myself. He looks so cute, so he's my bias, in case you were wondering. Namjoon and his wrinkled shirt that looks like he just got it right out of the dryer. Love that for him. I love how down to earth he always is and that he'll never change. V looks like exactly what Taylor Swift sang about James Dean Daydream, look in your eye, long hair, slick backed white t-shirt. He was glowing, the military definitely fine-tuned him and he really got a knack for working out, I'll say that. Not to mention, we got to talk about those recent dance clips that he's released with Lee Jung-lee. Don't drop that thump and then you know what I'm talking about. As well as the one he released from the Glorilla song. Absolutely crazy. I love this new dance style that he's been kind of diving into throughout his time in the military, because he's released a couple of videos prior. I know there's one that immediately comes to mind, and I wanna make it so good I don't want to leave. I think that's all I have to say. But he's just killing it, boy. Jin and his awkward little dancing. Absolutely my favorite thing to see. The way that he doesn't even move his body and he just throws his arms up above him and just kind of twist around. I really admire that about him. I admire this swagless dance move that he has perfectly mastered. There's something really beautiful about the way that he just kind of flails his arms up in the air. I really love it. I'm really bewitched by it, and I want to know how he possesses this talent to enthrall someone by just simply putting his arms up in the air. It's quite adorable and very freeing, and I think it's contagious. I want to try doing that the next time I listen to a BTS song. I'm just going to kind of put my arms up in the air and see where it takes me. Maybe I'll fly. Maybe I'll be with the clouds. I don't know. But after Jungkook performed I Wonder with J-Hope, I love how this video was already 25 minutes long. I could just talk about BTS forever. It's quite genuinely dangerous. After J-Hope and Jungkook performed I Wonder, Jungkook took the stage by himself and performed 7, and you could see he's still easing into it. He was a little bit more gentle with his dance moves than he's been in the past, but it was still all there. Muscle memory works very well. He sounded gorgeous, and then J-Hope came back out to perform Lotto's rap, except he changed one of the lyrics to Sweet Dreams Good Night, and it was so good. I I ate it up. I loved it. Killing it, girl. Killing it, boy. It was so, so incredible, especially the cha-cha slide part where, again, they locked eyes and you can just see the genuine trust that they hold within each other. It was so, so sweet. So that was amazing. Speaking of killing it, girl, J-Hope had his first performance of it. And when I tell you, it was crazy. He was wearing a sparkly white outfit. He looked absolutely stunning. And the choreography of this song is insane. If you thought Jungkook and Seven was bad, well, Killin' a Girl is on a whole new level. Killin' a Girl is here to come bust the doors down and show you what it's all about, because that performance was absolutely crazy. His chemistry with his main dancer, Alyssa, is absolutely phenomenal. And if anyone watched the docuseries and just like behind the scenes clips for Lollapalooza when it comes to J-Hope, he does not like when his dancers don't have chemistry. That is his number one no-no, and that is definitely not the case for the Killin' a Girl squad. They are a group of incredible dancers, and J-Hope and his main girl, Alyssa, definitely crush it together. They just look so good. The chemistry is off the charts. She's an amazing dancer. He's obviously an amazing dancer, and it's just a sight to behold. It was so funny watching BTS's reaction to it as well. You could see that they were quite literally losing their minds. Jimin was jumping up in the air, V was pointing, Jimin was pointing. Honestly, both of them had the biggest reaction. That's the one that comes immediately to mind. But I'm sure it had to be shocking, and I definitely think it gave Jungkook a couple of ideas for his next performance, so we'll see what happens. When V said on Such Vita that Chapter 2 is not about BTS taking off their shirts, I fear that he was lying, because the second day of the concert, J-Hope shocked the entire globe by performing for an hour shirtless with nothing but a black jacket on over, and he looked absolutely stunning. I love to see this side of him, not just because it's pleasant to see, but because he's so confident. I love seeing his power, his strength, his just everything, just the way that he is so in tune with himself, with his body, with his music. Every little piece of that stage is art, and honestly, I am blessed that I'm able to witness it. That's all I have to say. He gave a shout out to the other members on the first day of the concert, and it was so sweet. It was just so moving to see them all show up on the big screen. And then J-Hope and Jin sang Spring Day together, which I could not have ever imagined that was going to occur. The minute that song, the beat dropped, and Ali told me, I think it's Spring Day, I was like, no, it couldn't be. There's no way it's Spring Day. And sure enough, Bogo of Shita, right away they said, I miss you. And there are fan cams of BTS on the sidelines when Namjoon and Yoongi sang I miss you to each other, and you can see Yoongi's like holding his heart and Namjoon's holding his shoulder, and it's like, oh my gosh, we are so back, guys. But Jin sounded absolutely gorgeous performing Spring Day. He always sounds beautiful, but hearing him and J-Hope together, it was just so endearing, so sweet, because they really have held down the fort for BTS while the other members have been in the military. They've done such a great job, and I can't wait to see what Jin does on the Run Jin tour. I know that he just asked J-Hope in their most recent BTS Festa content for him to make Jin's set list for him. I don't know how much that actually stuck, if J-Hope did help with the content of the concert production, but I think that it would be quite incredible if all of BTS make a little cameo on the tour. So fingers crossed, you never know, it could happen. I'm putting it out into the atmosphere because I can't imagine they're going to want to be separated for much longer. The separation anxiety is so real because all 6 of them in the audience went to go get Jungkook after his performance on the 13th. But after Jin and J-Hope sang Spring Day, Jin also sang Don't Say You Love Me, which is a song that I had the honor of hearing him perform live at the Empire State Building. That's right, at the top of the Empire State Building, Jin of BTS sang 2 feet in front of me, and it was magical. I am eternally grateful that I got to have that experience. I'm still not over it. I remember feeling like I had not came back down to earth after that performance. I had to walk in the city for like an extra 30 minutes just to process what happened. And I still haven't processed it. So I don't know how you really can cope with seeing Worldwide Handsome that close and hearing his silver voice in person, but he is absolutely incredible. So this performance on June 13th for Don't Say You Love Me was no different. He sounded beautiful. And then Hobi, Jin, and Jungkook sang Jamais Vu together, which is a song that they haven't performed together since 2020 for their online concert, Mots 1. I don't know if that's how they pronounce it. It's like Map of the Soul on .e, but :e to be specific. I don't know. It's probably Mots 1. And they sounded so gorgeous together, and just you could see Jin's realization as Jungkook was singing, how, oh my gosh, I hear Jungkook, he's singing right now on stage. And it was so sweet to see like his smile just full of wonder. And the same for Jungkook when Jin sang. Like, I know how badly Jin missed Jungkook because he couldn't help himself but mention him in every single interview he did during the Don't Say You Love Me era, as well as just almost every episode of Run Jin. So I'm so happy they finally got to really reunite and share the stage together. I can't even dream of something more special. It was overall such an incredible concert. I felt so fulfilled after that performance, but for the rest of the day, I remember I had to take like a 5-hour nap just to cope after the emotional downpour that I felt from that concert. And then I did it all again the next day. I ended up waking up like throughout the night, probably around 4 a.m. I was like, let me just check to see if anyone's there for sound check. And nobody was, but I still wanted to see J-Hope's final show. So regardless if the members were performing or not, I was gonna watch it. So there I was again, waking up at 6 a.m., waiting for the concert to begin. And I am so glad that I decided to, because I got to witness Rush Hour with Crush and J-Hope. So they performed that together. J-Hope absolutely killed it. Yes, he was shirtless yet again. And that Killin' It Girl performance with shirtless J-Hope, if BTS had seen that one, I fear they all would have been clawing their way to the stage because it was so crazy. He was insane. He completely controlled the entire audience. They were all overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. And then he proceeded to perform like that for an hour. Bapse with shirtless J-Hope is something I'm never going to forget, you know? They call me Bapse. But it was such an amazing, amazing concert. And now I want some more, as J-Hope would say. But it's so funny because I went from being like completely entranced by how seductive and perfect J-Hope is to crying, bawling my eyes out, because he cried at the concert, just talking about how grateful he was for everything that Hope on the Stage gave him, and how it's not the end, but it's a beginning. It's a new beginning for what BTS have now to look forward to. But it had to be so emotional for him to let go of all of his songs after touring with them this whole time. He's finally done. He was singing each one for the last time, although Lollapalooza Berlin still awaits him. So I'm curious to see if he's going to continue the kind of same set list vibe he's been going with, or if he's going to switch it up a little bit. I guess we'll see what happens, because that's coming up, honestly. So overall, J-Hope, Hope on the Stage, final, I would give it a 13 out of 10, 6/13 out of 10 if I could. I hope that you guys enjoyed this little discussion on BTS and J-Hope's recent concert, as well as what is to come for the group. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, comment down below in the comment section, let me know what you think about it. So yeah, that concludes this episode. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. I love you guys, and that's all for K-All. Bye!